Red Bull Fight or Flight is the most intense PUBG Battle Royale event yet. Over 1,000 players competed. We've got qualifiers from PAX Australia, online qualifiers. Over 50 battles have taken place. Now, you've just witnessed the final 6 qualify today. It all comes down to this. Now watch as we crown the very first ever Red Bull Fight or Flight champions.
Now is the time, Sydney. Now is the time when the fun and games ends. Now is the time when the business end of the tournament begins. 3 maps is all they've got to prove their worth. And at the end of it all, we get to crown our Red Bull Fight or Flight champions. Are we ready, Sydney? You sound ready to me. Ben, let's get this show on the road.
Thank you very much, Miles. Yes, it has certainly warmed up in here in the carriage works. Certainly part of that, I would say, are the giant flamethrowers sitting next to the stage, but the atmosphere is intense as well. 1,000 people have competed in this competition. As Miles said, we started off at PAX, 3 teams qualified through. We moved online, 3 more from there, and then 6 teams today. Gives us, Jordan, a total of 12. My quick math's not out this time. And it's going to be a very, very close game. I do not know who's going to come out on top. Some of our pro teams qualified early. Our amateur teams have qualified today. But they have the advantage of playing on this stage, and they have the advantage of more games under their belt with this format than our pros do.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I have my sneaking suspicions as to who I think might actually end up picking up the victory today, but I think we'll wait a little bit before we dive too far into that, Ben. One thing I do want to say before we get too far into the discussion about all the nitty-gritty is that opening ceremony kind of has me pretty pumped. I mean, the fire, obviously, you talk about how things are heating up in here. I think it's a different experience when you're literally standing maybe not even 5 meters away.
It's actually hot. Like, I know, obviously, you can't tell at home, but like, it's behind us, and you can just feel the heat radiate up your back, DK.
Yes, Ben, fire is hot. Nice one.
Thanks. We're learning science things here at Red Bull Fight or Flight. Let's go and take a quick look at our schedule, a little bit about how we got here. Of course, we started qualifying through our last 6 teams this morning, 12-15. We started off F4F coming out on top. They went hard, led by Top Gun, and made their way through to the finals right now. Then our last chance qualifier. Slugs started off well, but it was Quick Res coming through with back-to-back victories, even if the Doctors Disrespect could not get back-to-backs of their own this time around. But they certainly win the Cosplay Award. I don't think there's anything for that. Maybe a can of Red Bull or something. But, you know, it is what it is. Then we moved on to our show match. We had some pro players. We had some streamers, all sorts. Look, Team Jay Lee's coming out on top. Jasmine Lee, nice job. Maybe carried by some of the pros. The amateurs coming in second, certainly nothing amateur about them. And saving Grace and her team, she had 1,300 hours. They had some good positioning, just not able to get through in time. But that has prepared us for our top 12 teams, our qualified squads from PAX Australia, Immunity, Space Rats, Justers. They qualified over a month ago when I believe it was only 8 teams at a time on stage. So a little bit different to now. Our online qualifier, the same, Bliss, Velocity. We've got Munster in there as well. And of course, our last chance qualifier, that was today. That gives us our 12 teams, Jordan. And you take a look at this, everything has changed.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you sort of already met all of the teams from this morning, the last chance qualifiers teams being F4F all the way down to slightly off center on the bottom end of things, but up towards the top end of things, the teams that qualified through from PAX and through from the online qualifiers, Immunity, Space Rats, Justice, Bliss, and Velocity.
Yeah.
All very, very well-known names within the PUBG community and teams that I expect to do well. I think our winner is going to be from one of these 5 teams. I don't know how much leeway you want to give me here, Ben. Do I get to say 5? Do I get to say 1?
Do you get to pick 5 out of 12 teams, Jordan? No.
How many do I get?
No, you don't. 2. Give me 2.
Immunity and Justice.
Right. Yeah. What about you, DK? What are you feeling?
You can't go past Immunity. You know, there was a chance they was going to make it as a squad themselves to PGC, but they're looking really strong at the end of that qualifier. But It's been such a long day. I forgot that Top Gun and Fighting for Freedom F4F are here.
Yeah.
And there's like a sickly feeling in my stomach. He's a really confident dude. He said coming first is a disease. And if he sneaks away with this, I can see that happening. It's very exciting going into this.
Not going to happen, Danny. Not going to happen.
He's just so, he just
Sorry,
exudes confidence.
He is very, very confident, and he has a lot of experience on stage. But it is now time to get all of our players out onto the stage. Miles Ross, let's get these teams ready.
Oh, these teams are ready. In order in which they qualified, I will read out their names. Let's get it going, friends. Immunity. Qualified at PAX. Household name in Australian esports is Immunity. We're looking to see what they can bring to the table here at Fight or Flight. Up next, Space Rats. A brilliant team name, if ever I have heard one. Also qualified through there at PAX. Coming in at team number 3, it is Justice. We thank the fans in the house for their contributions there. Team number 5, qualified online, Velocity. See what they can bring here today in CarriageWorks. They made it through via the internet. How will they fare in person? Team number 6, F4F. What a day it has been for these boys. No doubt in their minds that they made it this way, and here they are. But how will they fare against everyone else here in this grand final? Team number 7, Valor. Another squad with their ups and downs, but in the end, they made it. Let's see how they fare. Coming in at team number 8, another brilliant team name, another cranking one. It's the Sweaties. The Sweaties, of course, featuring my deity of choice, God Avo. Love to see it. Coming in at number 9. Also making their way through today's play, Munster. Their qualification was squeaky clean. They didn't face too much adversity, and in the end, they got there comfortably. Can they keep that pace up here in this grand final? Number 10, Quick Res. Extremely high kill team. Love to deal damage. Very, very exciting to watch to see how they go. Coming up next, Sakura. A well-rehearsed team, both in and out of the game. Coming in up next, it is Slightly Off Center. And well, friends, that... Oh, hold on, we're almost there. Last but not least, Team Bliss. And with that, we're almost ready to get this grand finals on the way. We've had our casters' predictions. There are some clear fan favorites, like really obvious fan favorites there, which we love to see. When you're ready, friends, take your seats, get into the game, and let's get this on. Ben, it's back to you.
Thank you very much, Miles. Yes, our 12 teams are ready and seated at their stations. They've qualified through a variety of different methods. And look, again, I just want to go back. I almost agree with you here, DK. I almost agree. Top Gun and Fighting for Freedom, they are...
It's a confidence game.
Yeah, that's it, right? For these guys, they're like, look, we don't even play that much PUBG. We just love video games. We love esports. We're competitors. And that's what this is about. This is an opportunity for the competitors to bring something back. Jordan thinks I am absolute goose.
I am itching to get involved in this conversation, but I don't know how mean and how rude I should be to you boys because
don't
honestly,
hold back, mate. This is the grand final.
Come on, Alfie, guys.
You guys
Never
are
stopped
being
you in the
ludicrous.
past.
You're being ludicrous if you think they're going to get there. I said the top 5 teams, any of those top 5 teams is going to be the one that wins. I'm going to stand by that. I reckon if it's outside of those top 5 teams, I don't know what I'm going to do. Well, give me something. Give me something.
Shave your head.
Shave my head?
Yes.
No, that's not happening. I don't believe in them that much.
All right, if Top Gun wins, you shave your head.
All right, if Top Gun wins...
Oh, there it is! Yes!
Hang on. You have to agree to the other side of this.
Oh,
if Top Gun doesn't win, you have to shave your head.
What?
That's silly.
That is absurd. How is DK going to do his great pizza and dancing ads if he shaves his head? No one's going to give him a role.
Maybe they want a bald Asian guy.
Okay, real talk, okay? If F for F come top 3, you have to come to work for a week. You have to work in the office for a week.
All right.
Elfish guy is white glove. He works from home and comes into Shoutcast. I want to see you at 9 a.m. every day for a week if they're top 3.
I guess that's the week where I'm going to be banking on my deals, Ben.
Classic. No, a lot is on the line. We make some jokes, but let's be real. This is a shot to head overseas. A huge $30,000 prize pool just for the first place team. You're heading across to the PUBG Global Championships Grand Final. You're flying across, you and your mates, all the way to San Francisco. You're going to hop across the bay to Oakland. You're going to watch the best PUBG players in the world. And as DK was suggesting, it's not just turning up and making your own way there. It's the full Red Bull experience, right? It's the classic Elfish guy white glove experience. When you go to a pro event, you get picked up. There's someone there at the airport, Mr. Maze on the card, and then they carry your suitcase to a limousine, and you go in. You go to the hotel. You're already checked in. I don't know what it's like. I assume this is what it's like for you, right?
Oh, absolutely. I don't expect anything less, Ben.
Exactly.
Only the premium experience.
The premium experience. That's what we're talking about. It's more than just a free trip overseas. It's a trip to go watch some absolutely astounding PUBG. And it's a trip, it's once in a lifetime. You can't buy this. You can't, it's not your usual kind of trip, DK.
Yeah, it's absolutely phenomenal. Obviously, they were the actual PGC qualifiers last weekend. And I saw a couple of the players, I was, 16-team event. A couple of the teams that were there just for the experience were like, oh man, this Red Bull Fight or Flight, that sounds like a lot more fun than going in there and getting, kind of maybe beaten by the higher class, higher region teams. They're like, we're going to focus on that next week. We're here to get a bit of experience for that. So they're here. It's grand final. I know Space Rats.
Yes.
Mishka, the very famed Mishka, didn't have the best showing last week in the finals event.
I think they came last, Danny.
He said to me, hey, we knew we didn't have a chance here, but next week I'm going to play. You should see me when I try. They're his actual words. I'm here to see
Those are good words. And that's a very good point, though, right? Because when you go overseas to play, you don't necessarily get to the full experience, right? You turn up, you go to your hotel, all right, we're settled, maybe you're a bit jet lagged, you go and you practice, you play your games, after party, go home, right? And particularly if you didn't win, maybe that's less than ideal. But in this scenario, you get to go overseas, you get to enjoy the experience. And not only that, they're probably going to be taking their own laptops with them as well. So not a bad deal. All you have to do is play your favorite game in this very special format in front of a very cool crowd and an amazing stage.
Well, I think it's maybe not so cool anymore. They're probably a pretty warm crowd now after the opening ceremony, Ben. But your point still stands. Obviously, getting those final checks done on stage, you want to be making sure you're as comfortable as possible.
Yep.
All of these players are, in some sense seasoned now, right? We've had the players that qualified through today, and when they came into those last chance qualifiers, they may not have had that stage experience. They do now have that kind of stage experience. For the rest of them, for the teams that qualified through online, for the teams that qualified through from PAX Australia, they either have that PAX experience or they did play in last week's finals for PUBG, for the professional circuit that we have here in Australia. So they're all, in a way, quite experienced. Yeah. This is going to be the cream of the crop we get here at Red Bull Fight or Flight. And I am expecting, after what we saw there in the show match, Ben, the level of competition is going to increase again. That was like the entree, and this is the main.
This is the real chicken dinner right here. That was just like, I don't know, arancini balls, or I don't know, something good that you...
Mozzarella sticks.
I love mozzarella.
I know.
I love mozzarella sticks. I'm saying no to them in November, though. I made up November. I'm saying no to mozzarella sticks. Just this month.
You guys are real fancy with your arancini and your mozzarella stick. I just have the free bread that comes. That's usually what I can afford.
Bread's nice. I like bread.
It's the cheapest thing on the menu. Usually a salad or something.
Jordan likes free things, to be honest. That's what he's about. You guys like, oh, what can I buy what's the cheapest thing here? And they're like, water? You're like, yeah, I'll have one of those.
No, normally I don't buy water. I just get the free water.
Free water.
Table water for free.
Table water.
That's what esports is all about. Yeah. Free water.
Just live on the edge. Get some sparkling.
Whoa, no, I'm not a fan of sparkling water.
Oh, I can tell you a story about going to a restaurant with D-Man and ordering sparkling water and then leaving because the Tomahawk steaks were too expensive. Still having to pay for the water. That was a whole other thing. But for now, look, these guys, they've had a chance to play some games, they've had a chance to watch some games. Now it really matters. Do you think we're going to see some changes, Jordan, from how we saw the qualification games play out? Now that they've seen how it progresses, all of these teams have played relatively well. Is this going to be a different style of game?
It's really hard to answer, Ben, because I think there is going to be quite a few teams that are really going to back themselves into this one. So there may be a real possibility that we will see 3 or 4 teams dropping to sort of the premium locations.
Yeah.
And in that instance, we would get a much more aggressive, a much faster kind of gameplay out of those 4 teams. And whether that is then going to develop into game 2 or game 3, things sort of starting to slow down a little bit there. Maybe someone not contesting where they otherwise would have. I don't know. We're going to have to kind of find out based on the results that we see in game 1 and how that's going to shape the opinions of each team going into games 2 and 3.
Yeah, and the pressure is on now, right? We've got a lot of pros in this. We've got still quite a number of amateurs or semi-pro players as well. But when you saw those pro teams qualify earlier, I don't think it was as stacked as it is now, right? The pressure is really on. And last weekend when we saw them play out at our studios, DK, they had 20 matches to get into it. They got to play 20 maps, 10 on Saturday, 10 on Sunday. That is a lot. And those are maps that are the same format that they are used to playing. This is 3 maps of an entirely different Red Bull Fight or Flight format. So the pressure is truly on.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for example, one of the favorites we keep talking about is Team Immunity. They're touted as, probably one of the strongest teams here. And at that tournament you were talking about, for example, Ben, they took the second day to really warm into it. The first day was very quiet.
Yeah.
The second day they came out firing. Unfortunately, they fell a little short, so they're here to still get that ticket over to Oakland. But, I mean, you got to go back to that sort of PAX entryway, right? Immunity was the first team in. On that day 1, they were the first guys in. I think this sort of format suits them quite a bit. For example, Justice, you heard in the interview during the break, they had to warm into it. They were a bit too quiet the first day. Second day, they went out looking for frags a bit too aggressively. Third day, they found their balance and got that last ticket from PAX. And maybe this playstyle just doesn't suit a team like Justice. It's more suited to Immunity. So it's awesome to see this grand final might play out.
Interesting.
You say that, Danny, but we did just see Justice actually win the show match. I mean, it wasn't all of Justice, but it was pretty much Justice.
It was mainly Justice.
Yeah, it was Resolves, DJ Ani and Player 4, if I'm correct in my memory, which, to be honest, tends to be failing me sometimes these days. But Justice,
that's why you got to put your keys in the fridge.
Yeah, exactly. Justice, I think, are actually going to be doing pretty well, and that's kind of why I sort of threw them out there as one of my predictions.
Yeah.
Going into today, I probably wouldn't have had them pegged as one of my top 2, but just from what I saw in the show match there from those boys, I was actually tipped over the scale a little bit, you know? I jumped over the other side of the fence. Looks a bit greener over there, and so for me, I've dove in with Justice. Were it not for that, I probably would have been looking to Team Bliss, but they did struggle a little bit at LAN last weekend, so I don't know whether that's going to come into effect today, or if they're going to come back with a bit of a redemption storyline, Ben. That's still a very, very good team. It's just they didn't show up last weekend. So if Bliss can show up today, I really think they're a very good shot as well.
Is there a redemption arc, DK? Is PUBG Esports an anime?
I honestly think on that redemption story, I think the likes of course, Quick Res that qualified today. So a lot of these teams have had a lot of time to think about it, maybe even play a modded version of this game at home, try to figure out the strategies. Quick Res, you saw, we interviewed them a few times. They're just like, we're here to play. They don't even know they've been in the grand final. They're here now. They're just going to find the frags, get the points. Maybe they're loose. They're an unknown quantity, and you know how dangerous they are, Ben.
Yeah, absolutely. Unknown quantities, a very peculiar game format, something our pro players are not used to. Our amateurs have had all of today to warm themselves up. They've qualified on this stage. They are ready to go. And that trophy is the light at the end of the tunnel. A chance to head across to Oakland, California. 10K in cash, Omen gear, Omen laptops, and that money can't buy experience thanks to Red Bull. Traveling overseas to check out PGC. You cannot ask for much more than that. Look, it's going to be one heck of a battle. When you know that there's only 3 matches to play, you cannot afford to let anything go.
No, you definitely have to be starting off pretty well. You know, you need to be ready off the blocks pretty much. Like, you can't really do a poor performance in game 1. You can't start slow. You can't really sort of warm into the swing of things. You just need to be racing from the very beginning. So for the majority of these teams, I think game 1 is critical. I mean, in fact, for all of these teams, really, game 1 is critical. There's just no messing about, is there?
Yeah. Particularly when we're expecting the pros to come out of the gate hard. If you want to make it, you have to go as hard as them. You can see these players are absolutely hyped. A lot is on the line. But guys and girls, the time is now. We kicked it off at PAX, we moved online, and here we are at Carriage Works. The Red Bull Fight or Flight, powered by Omen Grand Finals. 3 matches here on Sandhawk. 1 team will come out as winners.
Well, from 48 remaining, we are going to crown 4 victors. Danny, it's come all the way from 1,000 players across Australia into the Red Bull Fight or Flight Grand Finals. And straight away we dive onto Sandhawk with a Camp Alpha Circle. This is just shenanigans at its finest.
This is a specialty-made Red Bull Fight or Flight Circle, and what's the bet? It does a hard shift east, Jordan, and just puts everyone on a topsy-turvy. We just saw Mishka there singing something just before he hopped into the game, and just on that, I just want to take everything I said about him back. I don't think he's ready for this level of competition.
You don't think they're going to win?
He's singing, he's just a jolly guy, which is probably good for his mentality, but I don't think his focus is fully there as the drops are coming out. And it's going to be so interesting to see where this circle ends up.
Yeah, certainly interesting as well to see where all the teams are going to end up out of this drop, because again, you look at the amount of the circle that is water and which is land. I'd say about 50% of this actually is unplayable terrain, with the rivers there, with the actual ocean itself. There's not a whole lot of real estate in this very first circle, and going to be a big scuffle for territory, really basically off the outset.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see. And this first map out of 3 is a real opportunity for these teams, especially these pro teams, to sort of set the pace, right? Play the way they want to play, because otherwise it might be scraping the bottom of the barrel come game 2 and 3 to kind of draw those points. So we'll see who takes charge, and you've got to like the...
Already you can see an engagement is basically ripe for the pickings here. Immunity have, in a sense, kind of sandwiched a couple of those Valor players. They're going to want to try and take this 3v2 very quickly before the reinforcements from Valor can get across from that other compound.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we heard the players talking about pushing too far forward or splitting up too much and just getting sandwiched in between teams, but it looks like it's a bit of a split here from Valor and Immunity. You favour them in this situation, Jordan, do you?
Yeah, well, I don't know about that necessarily. It depends on who's the aggressor here. I would probably favour the aggressor. I think they're the one that's going to make that decision to make the play. And when you're playing off your own instincts, I suppose, or if you're being the one that's going to take the fight on your own terms in a way, that is going to be pretty impactful. But the difference is, we're not going to see as fast of a gameplay as what we saw in the open qualifiers, in the last chance qualifiers. These guys are more or less seasoned pros, right? So they're going to play the game the way that it's meant to be played, which is a little bit more reserved, a little bit more passive. They're not going to try and give up as many mistakes, because those mistakes are going to be punished more.
Yeah, absolutely. We see a bit of fire getting traded here. Vasily taking up a couple of shots, but nothing too much done there. It is going to be this Valor engagement. We'll see what happens. But like you said, these are 2 more of the season team. Might be interesting to see the outliers, the fringe teams. Like we do see slightly off-center, just towards the bottom of the screen on the minimap there. You can't see it on the screen right now, but Valor and Immunity, this is very important. This might give the upper hand to one of these favoured teams, right?
I mean, Vasily needs to be very careful that he doesn't get knocked there, because he's essentially a solo. If one of the other 3 does get knocked, they'll probably be able to try and trade that one out, but he's on his own. Now we take a look at Velocity and Munster, who have come into a bit of an engagement, and immediately Outlier will be knocked.
Yeah, this is going nice in the favour of Munster. Obviously, Velocity, a very well-known team in PUBG. Boogeyman takes a couple of tags there as Outlier gets absolutely wiped off the server. Now Somatic does some work at the trade, but he's got some running freedom there. Gets the trade down. Now it's got to get a bit more done. Velocity is not the best start. You do in this fight, but Somatic can't land the shots as he gets hard cover.
Somatic is in his element. I actually almost back him to win this 1v3. He gets JS down as well, and actually, if he does win the 1v3, it'll be a 1v4 as well, by the way.
See if we can get it done, but it looks like they're going to disengage for a little while. Heaven's coming out to come for the res, that 2.5 second res.
Dak
wipes out dead.
Yeah, they might actually be able to finish off that knock as well with the angle that Dak has, although he has popped a couple of shots in his direction. Heaven not able to hold on to the spray here, and Velocity, they're a very solid team coming into this event. I wouldn't expect that they're going to be too keen on dropping this fight. However, a big spray from Heaven puts Somatic back down low, has to heal on it.
Somatic just not watching his
Where's
back there. Dak actually gets taken down as well.
Rapidos is behind him. I've been wondering, where's that 4th player from Velocity? It's Rapidos coming up the backside, and this is going to be a real big problem for Munster, I think. If they have not got the information there, they are going to get flanked, just like what they're doing to Velocity, interestingly enough.
So they're trying to find these spray, trying to get the downs, as Heaven actually does manage to get the down onto Somatic, so now it's just down to Rapidos. He's got to get some work, and Dak doesn't quite get too much done. And this is some great play here. Rapidos getting some vengeance there, manages to take out Heaven. And now, just a couple of shots
Navitas. That's another team.
Ooh.
Team Bliss is getting involved in this engagement as well. It's a third party indeed, Danny. Everyone likes a party, more the merrier.
Oh no, Raptors is taken down as well. Now she's down to Dak. He is super low. Raptors eliminated off server. Dak getting some revenge via the frag of Boogeyman. Now it's just down to JS. This has been a massive fight, and Boogeyman getting eliminated as well. So now it's just down to Dak and Boogeyman.
Yeah, Dak's got 3 kills with the squad here, but just 1 for himself. Does have some meds available. Running out of ammo. His helmet's very low as well, so doesn't want to get involved in this engagement at all. Taking a quick look back at Immunity, it looks like they have gotten that first kill onto one of the Valor players. So this is now a 3 versus 4 in the favor of Team Immunity. They're being very methodical, clearing out these buildings, and they're doing what they need to do.
Yeah, absolutely. We see Chaos there bolstered up, but I don't think this is the likes. This is where it kind of steps up to that next level, right? Team Immunity not want to make those silly mistakes, and there you go. Chaos gets taken out.
You can see how methodical they're being, clearing out these angles all together. They know that there was 2 players in that building. They're not messing around. They're not really disrespecting anyone. They're going together, playing the fundamentals correctly, and trading out if need be. But Chungi's good enough to get the job done on his own.
Yeah, there you have it.
Need to be aware of what's coming in behind them, though.
Always the case here with these game setting. Nick, just still yet to get that.
Oh, they're not running in a good direction.
Oh no, there's just spray coming everywhere, and it's Taylor to get a nice couple of frags there.
Rest in peace, Valor. But that is at least a nice advanced warning system. It's like almost having a home alarm system for Team Immunity. The other boys run off. You know that there's someone coming in. These guys are going to be a problem, so Team Immunity at least now are aware that there's someone pushing in their direction.
It is that situation. You engage, you disengage, you time it just a little bit incorrectly, you end up getting sandwiched, and you're pretty much just there for the slather. Macaboy manages to spot out.
Oh, it's poor Dak. Mishka's going to get the high ground. He's going to get on the roof here, and Dak is just going to be done if Mishka actually jumps on the roof, which he hasn't. But if he did...
if he did...
Dak would be done.
Dak would be done. It's a nice little alliteration there as Vasily manages to just kind of get into a nice little position here. He's fully aware of the fact that...
There goes Dak. Mishka finally got him.
Oh, Mishka.
Yep.
That's a very quick start for Mishka. Usually a bit slow to start as well.
Yeah, usually doesn't get too many kills, but tends to prefer shooting at bikes instead.
I'm telling you, he had conviction in his eyes, Jordan, when he told me he's here to play.
All right.
Yeah.
We'll see if that ends up ringing true. Munster definitely suffering for worse. JS, the last alive for that squad. Head kick. Oh, man, this will be the nade to end all nades if he can hit Ulf. That's a good cook. I actually think he's got this.
Perfect type nade. Oh.
Just a bit too deep. If he would have held that for another half a second.
Oh, no, Bronco, what are you doing? He's just stepping outside. Surely Ufta said something. And on that note, I think it's all kind of done and dusted.
Can I just say, Top Gun's out, so both you and Ben are wrong.
I know. I was kind of cringing at that look. But, you know, first map, still 2 more to go. I think just got to warm up to the battle. A bit of a break since that first session.
I'll give you credit there. Head kick's got a great angle here, but can't actually land that last shot onto Uft. Brocco is going to be under a bit of pressure here as well. The high ground is really what you want to be taking in a game like PUBG because it does let you dictate those fights. It let you choose when you take the engagement, and that's really, really a problem for the guys down on the bottom because they essentially have to take a fight that they don't really want to be taking.
Yeah, as that zone does slowly close in there. There you go. Manages to find off Brocco. Now it looks like Fighting for Freedom are going to be eliminated in 10th.
There they go. Team Immunity also actually fragging up a storm at the moment as they do get rid of Big G as well from Quick Res. They're going to have to start moving shortly though. So the feed hasn't really favored Team Immunity too much. They just got the first one, which they've made good use of, to be fair. They've got a lot of kills, but now they have to get on the move. They have to get on their bike. They're going to have to run right into probably Sakura based on what I can see on the map here. There's a few other teams sort of hanging around in that vicinity as well. So this is going to be where push comes to shove. This is where you're going to separate the boys from the men.
Yeah, and we see slightly off center, just making their way up that minimap just in behind Immunity. Looks like they're just going to go a bit wider for that rotate, which might put them in a safe position. Not too much cover out there, though. As you see, Immunity absolutely methodical, right? It's kind of beautiful to see after we did see a little bit of risque play earlier in the day.
Good couple of shots there from inside. Happy Navitas from Team Bliss. Oh, he just gets absolutely wrecked. That's a great grenade from Resolves. Wow.
Spanky just trying to, I think that's more of a Hail Mary than anything else. Just trying to find something with return grade.
2.5 second revive. So while you get the knock, that's not as impactful as it is in ordinary PUBG where it takes 10 seconds to get the revive.
You know what's interesting is I haven't seen as many baits for the revive because it's very tempting with that 2.5. As you mentioned there, as Insight does get taken out by Jinx. Jinx is having an awesome day, isn't he? Regardless of where they finish. He's just racking up the kills, which is definitely a reason why his team is here in the grand finals.
Oh, Chungi's putting some good damage in there in the pip, and he actually will get rid of Jinx. So, Caster's curse a little bit there, Danny.
So much. I'm sorry, Jinx.
So that actually really opens things up quite substantially for Immunity. You can see they have a bit more of a freeway into the circle here, but keep an eye on Team Bliss and Justice here because they certainly are going head-to-head. And I've got to say, I think Bliss has the better position right now. They look like they've kind of encircled Justice, and Justice is kind of the meat to the sandwich of Team Bliss, and though the meat fights back, apparently resolves and head kick, hitting some great shots, and probably not expected to win that engagement, but they do.
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing a lot of the early action here coming out from this sort of 5 teams that you mentioned before that's making through. We see so much happening here as Resolves does come out on top of that. Nice couple of kills there for Justice to rack up those points. But is this an instance? We've seen Sakura and the likes of slightly off center there towards the bottom of that minimap there, the fringe of the blue. Are they just kind of going for a bit more of a, let these pro guys take care of themselves?
It's probably not a bad decision,
wing it in there.
To be quite honest. If you come in third party for that first place, it could actually end up quite nicely. Nick got a couple of shots from Frozen Sniper, but I think that puts him down too low. Luckily for most of the teams here on the western side of the map, obviously the Sweaties being one of them, they've had a bit of a circle feed here. This grenade, again, could be pretty good. Can it connect onto Mishka? Goes deep. Oh, it doesn't quite hit Macaboy either. That was looking dangerous for Space Rats.
Sweaty moment.
Frozen Sniper's got a great position here. He's going to have so much control of the circle of the teams that are trying to push up the hill. It's never fun pushing up the hill to begin with, but when there's someone shooting at you as well from that high ground, gets even worse.
Yeah, it might be a bit risky there, as we do see a bit of a push here coming from slightly off center, and they might be facing Sakura very shortly, but I guess out of all the teams that are still left on the map, that might be the best chance there to rack up a couple of points and get that hard cover. As we see Sniper from the Sweaties take a couple of shots, not too successful there, as he's facing off against head. How talented he can be. Oh, interesting little nade, does a little, that's just a firework. Oh, no.
Hey, what? Hang on. He actually got Blake. Oh, he did like not even know he was there. Genuinely, I guarantee you he did not know that guy was there.
Macaboy, 300 IQ plays.
Oh,
definitely have to ask him about that later. You know, he's a seasoned man. He knows how to lead his team.
Apparently.
Yeah.
Avo, the god himself for Sweaties, has a bit of work to do here, as you can currently see Justice pushing in the direction of Sweaties. There's another grenade that goes flying over Frozen Sniper's head, but doesn't connect this time. Oh, that does, though. Head kick. Talk about a head kick. That's a head that's kind of
yeah, it's just absolutely gone. Obviously, Miles Ross's favorite deity in God Avo gets taken out. Monster is eliminated at 7th place. And Team Immunity, one of the favorites. Insight has been taken out, but they're in a fantastic position here. We'll see where the circle shifts.
Could be worse for pretty much everyone, to be honest. I guess SOC are the ones that are least happy about this, but outside of that, I think everyone else is probably okay with the way that this circle has shifted. Pretty safe rotates in for the majority. Textile has a long way to go, but he's safe.
All the engagements from the qualifiers here are 1-for-1 trade coming up between Sakura and slightly off center there, but Mikhail's in a great position. Needs to land a couple of these shots. Manages to take a little bit of damage from himself. He's got 3 plays in front of him, getting a triple. No. Anna manages to get one down. Get him. Goes the flush. Gets taken down himself. And Sakura really making this work. I thought but look at that. It's a clean wipe. And that is slightly off center. SOC taken out in 6th.
Yeah, slightly off the strong placement points as well, Danny. They just miss out on getting out of, the 2 and 1 point sort of margin. You can get up to 3 or 4 pretty quickly if you survive a little bit longer, but unfortunately for SOC, not an option. Great covering fire from the Sakura members, because it really looked like Mikhail was going to be under some pressure there. Now, though, we turn our attention to Team Immunity, who are moving in the direction of Space Rats, who really at this point should be called Space Slugs, because they're kind of just slugging in the grass.
Yeah, definitely. They're in a favorable position there. As up those got that high ground. As we see Justice, Textile manages to get one onto player 4 there, but you surely think at this age, they know where he is. It's a 3-on-1 situation. As Sakura actually coming in for the third party, but he's all alone, and Chungi is to find Happy Gilmore, so it looks like Immunity plays class just going in and taking out the likes of Sakura. Mikhail's still alive, but he's got to face a whole Justice lineup.
Oh, well, maybe not all of it, as player 4 does eventually dispatch of Mikhail, but he did get resolves down on the ground. I think that'll be resable. Immunity, though, I think this is where the instincts are starting to take over. This is where all that DM practice, all of that practice dropping into boot camp is going to start to come into effect. Chungi does get caught off, though, by Macaboy, who, as I said, was slugging in the grass there. Now, it's not going to be finishable just yet, but Macaboy doubles down. And there goes Vasily as well.
Yeah, that is absolutely huge, though. Macaboy going large. I told you they wanted this, Jordan. Results gets one off, but Macaboy manages to finish off Vasily, and that is the flush. Immunity, one of the favorites, eliminating third. Oh, no, Results has just been in the open. He's got the high ground, but he's not taking advantage of it. Grabs there, he's spotted the place. He needs to land these shots. This is every advantage. There you go. Comes, gets taken down. And this is an interestingly favorable position from Justice.
This is going to be quite interesting indeed, depending on where the circle does shift. I think Justice should by rights win this game. They've got far more control of the circle, and yeah, I mean, now for Space Rats, they actually have to move. They have to go somehow up the cliff, which is impossible now.
Yeah, I mean, you highlighted how much of an advantage that high ground is, and it looks like it's going to pay absolute dividends here. Now it's just down to Macaboy and Husey. And it looks like it's all over. Congratulations, Justice taking out a first map.
Very well played from Justice, just cool, calm and collected, sitting in the circle. Look, they copped a couple of feeds, but they put themselves in the right position as they needed to. Space Rats are going to be pretty happy with that as well. A second place, they got a lot of kills in there as well. And then rounding out for third was Team Immunity. But boy, oh boy, Justice, that was an across-the-board performance. 4 kills for each member, 16, and a win to start off. That is definitely a chicken dinner to end all chicken dinners.
Yeah, 26 points on the board to kick off their grand final match. It does not get much better than that, Jordan. That's you're looking at how many teams you've got. There's only so many points you can get. So 16, I think we've only seen 17 so far today as the highest.
17 was the max. And can I just point out, by the way, the 2 teams that I predicted to potentially win this were both in the top 3 of game 1. I don't know if that says anything, boys, but where's Top Gun?
Well, all I'm going to say, Jordan, is you just pick the most predictable predictions.
I'm
you take
you guys seemed pretty sold.
Very few risks when it comes to that. Though I want to give a shout out to Sakura. Okay, these guys came in, they didn't even qualify through the first match today. It took them a while. They played in the second qualifier. I think they managed coming 4th. They were the only team remaining other than the top 4 teams, those teams sitting lowest on the stage because they're the first qualifiers. And then Team Sakura up the top.
Yeah, definitely did well for themselves, and I was pretty impressed with how they were covering each other off in late game situation there as well. So it really does seem like at least the fundamentals and the communication are working pretty well for Sakura. Obviously not quite able to get the better of some of these more experienced teams, but with a little bit more practice, and I guess with that game under their belt, again, you know, we'll see what they can do in that next one, Ben. But they're definitely not a team that you can kind of disregard.
No, absolutely not. And the thing for me, yes, it is a little bit of luck. It is a little bit of positioning, Jordan. But in the end, Justice were essentially gifted that last circle. But you take the higher ground, you take the chances you can get, DK.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you got to think Space Rats, they were kind of in that zone before, maybe like 2 phases before that sort of final circle. I thought they'd be in a really powerful position, but really they just kind of lost that high ground.
Honestly, if the circle doesn't even go the way of Justice, like if it comes back down the hill towards Space Rats, they still lose that engagement because Justice are in just a better position. As you say, the high ground is what's really important. You saw what it allowed Justice to do, and that was then them being the aggressors, them being the ones that chose when they wanted to take those fights. They can sit back, they can reload, they can heal, they can cook some grenades whenever they want. But for Space Rats down at the bottom of that cliff, they essentially always have to be looking just in case the Space Rats guys actually have to take a fight, right? They're waiting to see whether or not Justice is going to peek or not. If they don't peek, you still have to watch, because there is inevitably going to be a situation where they do peek, and you want to be ready for it, which here, even on this replay right now, those 2 guys down on the ground weren't ready for because they weren't watching. Yeah,
it's a little bit unfortunate. Look, if you are we talk about high ground, low ground, but that is so far away. You're essentially playing a game of worms, right? You're stuck down in the lowest point on the map. You're trying to lob your nades up, but they keep coming back down. There's very little you can do in that scenario. And as you said, as we take a look at Justice, 4, 4, 4, and 4. Everyone picking up 4 kills, 16 points plus 10, 26 for them. Not bad at all. Space Rats only going to find themselves with 7 points from their kills. And if you follow your way down, Jordan, there's actually not that many kills to look at.
Yeah, I mean, Bliss came in 5th with 0 kills. So look, not a bad placement, but again, we need to keep looking at those kill points. They get 3 points out of that game, even though they came in 5th. And look at the margin already.
Wow.
26 for Justice, doubling 2nd place, and basically doubling plus a little bit more for 3rd place. So Justice are off to a banger. I mean, that isn't quite enough to confirm them a place to go spectate PGC. But if they can sort of go through these next couple and maybe pick up, you know, the likes of the 12 points or the 8 points that Immunity and Sakura have got there, they actually should be the team that now has that best platform to build off.
One good game away, I would say. Justice are one good game away from locking themselves a shot to go. Check out PGC in Oakland. Let's throw it across to Miles to see how they're feeling.
Thanks, guys. I'm here with DJ Arnie from Justice, mate. Well done. That was the high ground to end all high grounds in that last one. Tell us how that map went for you.
We started off with dropping in our usual spot at Hearts Inn, and then we saw 2 or 3 teams right next to us, and we thought we didn't really want to take the early fight, so we navigated around them and up the hill to our usual starting spot. And yeah, we just maintained the high ground, took the stealth approach up there, got it, and just fragged out any team in front of us from there on.
It looked pretty open and shut. I mean, given the nature of this win, it was pretty confident. You qualified third at PAX. Is there anyone else in the competition you're worried about?
Yeah, Mishka's team, they're nuts, and also buildup. He is a fragger, buildup. Yeah, watch out for him.
We will do indeed, mate. How are you finding the setup so far? I mean, obviously it's not quite like playing at home. The lights, the crowd, the casters. I mean, is it changing the way you're playing? Is there any nerves there, or are you all good?
I think it does affect our mechanical confidence a little bit, but we're always relying on our strats. So we're a strategical team, very strategical, and yeah, I mean, it doesn't affect us too much, but yeah, we'll do our best. Yeah, we'll do our best with it. Yeah.
Sweet, man. Any final words you want to say to the fans or the crowd here in Carriage Works?
Cheers for all the Justice people. Yeah, they're awesome.
They are awesome, mate. Thank you very much, man. Take your seat, get back into that game. Ben, back to you.
Well, Justice have the fans. They have the strats, apparently, and they have the first chicken dinner of the grand final here at Red Bull Fight or Flight. 26 points, absolutely huge. And as we were just alluding to, one good game can lock them in, I reckon. If they do 26 again, no one's catching up.
Yeah, look, I've been saying it all day. The impact and the weight of points, even though you're, in a sense, getting the same amount of points with the format,
yeah,
the impact and the weight of them is a lot higher because there's only 3 games. So there's just a lot less points on offer as a whole across the tournament, and that means, you know, one good win, like you say, could well be enough as long as they don't completely cake these next couple of games. If you get 0 points, it's anyone's game.
Absolutely.
But if they're getting some decent points on the board, if they're getting 5, 10 points out of these next 2 games, they're going to be pretty tough to catch.
Plus, they just told us their usual drop points, so I don't know if any other teams were listening, but we'll have to see how that one goes. For now, though, time for another intel play of the game. DK, if this isn't that nade, coming back down.
Oh, it's not. It's Mikhail's. Great play there against SOC, and we saw it was all over for Sakura, wasn't it? We thought so, but the trade's coming in, the team support, and they end up getting those 4 points, which is all critical.
Yeah, the drop shot as well, not something that you see every day in PUBG, but it keeps Mikhail alive and gives just enough time for the rest of the players to come across.
Yeah, Sakura doing well. I alluded to it earlier, right, that they started today and they didn't even qualify. And then they played in the last chance and they made it through.
Yep.
And they got better and better. They stopped making bad decisions like deciding to take a boat through the blue zone over. Yeah. Like, we'll just keep going. We'll go on. It's okay. We're dead. Yeah. None of that. Come forth. That's not bad.
No, definitely not bad. It does still keep you in the running, but you have to back that up now with a good game. You can't come forth 3 games in a row and expect to come out in first, because realistically speaking, there's going to be a team that's going to have a big game, and we've already seen that from Justice. So that really puts a lot of pressure on almost everyone else in the competition at the moment, Ben, because everyone else is now essentially playing catch-up, and that is a big weight hanging over your head.
We take a look at our player profile for our current leader in terms of points. And Changi, what do you think from Team Immunity? Good game. Wasn't enough to get them through, but it keeps them in the competition.
Yeah, I liked what I saw from Team Immunity. I was feeling pretty hopeful for them. Obviously, losing Insight early on in the piece is never going to be too ideal, particularly in a mode like this, in a format like this, where a lot of your engagements are going to come down to a bit more of a streaky fight, where you're going to have craziness going on. You're going to have comm issues. We're going to have teams kind of third-partying, fourth-partying. You really, at that point, kind of need to be at full strength. And for Team Immunity, I think if they had 4 players alive there, they definitely would have had a little bit more of a push in towards the late stages. They did come third, so they're pretty happy, I think, with that result. But with 4 alive, could have seen them probably picking up 2nd place. Just have that extra player that's an extra eye, that it's an extra gun, just so much more help. And for Team Immunity, while it is winnable with 3 players, I think in a format like this, you really want to be keeping all 4 alive. Otherwise, you just get overwhelmed in those fights.
Yeah, it's taking it down to the wire, right? Firstly, you're giving a point across to someone else. Secondly, that play cannot accrue any more points for you either. They can't get any more kills on the board. So when we saw how close this competition has been, you know, even between 3rd and 4th, it's normally 1 point. I think we saw, a 3-way tie for 3rd in the last qualifier. Every single point wins. DK, how are we feeling about Top Gun and F4F right now? They didn't live up to my personal expectations last game. What about you?
Yeah, definitely not bunging out pretty much last day with absolutely 0.0 kills. But, nothing to write home about yet. Still a few more games left. Maybe they can adapt and adjust, but these top sort of 5 teams really shining through. And just something on Justice there. They obviously played in, I believe it was all those 3 days at PAX. So really, they've had a day. They fell short, didn't make it. Had some time to go home, think about it, adapt to this Red Bull fight or flight sort of game style. Came back a second day, didn't quite work, adjusted one more time, made it on the 3rd day. So they probably had more time than any of those other teams to sort of adapt and figure out their play style, and maybe that's going to pay dividends.
Yeah, well, they talked about strats, right? And the players, it's not like we're surprising the players with these rules. The rule sets is in the rule book, right?
Yeah.
You can go home and you can make it up and you can do it yourself. So if you want to prepare, if you wanted to put the time into this, you can start getting that feeling for what this is like. What we were talking about earlier, where the pro players usually spend thousands of hours on this game, and you know they get that intuition, they know how things feel. Maybe you can kind of adjust for this different format if you were to do the work, Jordan.
Yeah, I think there's also something that we do have to talk about. You know, we've been very excited, we've been very hyped about Justice, but what you have to remember, what DJ Arnie said, is that they were kind of in their comfort territory.
Yeah.
They know that area of the map very, very well because that is their regular drop location in pro games. So they know the rotations out of Hard Tin, they know the rotations up onto that mountain. They've played that circle over and over and over and over again. So what I'm more interested to see here for Justice, and I think what's going to be more impactful, at least in terms of weighting my opinions as to how they're playing, is if they're going to be able to have a similar performance in a circle that doesn't favor them. So they're going to need to show me that if the circle shifts over Quarry or Kampong or Camp Charlie or something like that. Those are the circles that really are going to be the ones that you need to look at.
That's a very good point, right? All of these adaptations that we've made to the game, really, if you're landing in the same spot you used to, you've got better weapons than normal, you're doing your same rotations, you probably know how it's going to play out, and you're probably in a better position to win than any of the other teams due to that. And all those changes, they're probably going to benefit you as opposed to be a negative for someone else. But that is just game 1. And yes, when things go their way, they managed to pull 26 points onto the board. A very solid start for them. But still, 2 games remain. This is anyone's chicken dinner. This is anyone's all expenses paid trip to PGC, our PUBG Global Championships Grand Finals in Oakland, California. An opportunity to watch the best of the best in the world go head to head. But now, our Red Bull Fight or Flight powered by Omen Grand Final match number 2 of 3. Let's get on to Sandhawk.
Well, game 1 was certainly a banger, and going into game 2, I can only hope and imagine that we are going to get something very similar indeed. What I can mention straight off the outset, though, is that we're not quite going to get the exact same circle. So that at least does throw a spanner in the works for us, and certainly is going to mean for Justice that they have some rotating to do. There it is on your screens now. We're heading over to the east side.
Yeah, it's almost the other end of the map compared to that first one. We'll see if Justice can adapt. And obviously, having 16 frags in that first one, 10 positional points. I mean, this is an opportunity to set the pace now for Justice. This is theirs to lose. And it'll be very interesting to see how they adapt to this sort of change in their drop location. And we see you know, just dominating that sort of east coast there.
Yeah, again, a lot of the map that's not really playable at the moment. About 30% of the circle over the water. Even when you consider what's inside the map itself, inside the land itself, you don't really want to be going down into Quarry. So there's another, say, 5 or 10% of the map that's really not too playable. So again, we're going to see quite a congestion.
Yeah, as Happy Novides manages to find one onto Boogeyman. Yeah, it's a much better start for Team Bliss there. We know what this team's absolutely capable of, and just JS trying to make legs of it and try to get away, but he's going to be absolutely fucked right now, and that's a very strong start there for the likes of Team Bliss.
Well, that's actually their first 2 kills as well. They didn't get a single kill in their 5th placing in the last round. So, as I say, much better start there for Team Bliss now. A couple of Munster players are still hanging around here. Ted, behind the rock, has got himself an M4. And certainly looking a little bit scared at the moment. There's obviously 4 Team Bliss players that they're going to have to be aware of.
Yeah, I mean, they got the information there. It is 2-on-4 most likely in their minds. And at this stage, maybe it's just an opportunity to back those 4 points because it's going to be an uphill battle with just 2 players left.
Yeah, Textile has found Ted. So there's 1 more for Team Bliss. As we take a moment to look over at Team Immunity, who placed 3rd in the last game. Chungi was hitting some really nice shots. I was pretty impressed by what I saw there. They have a nice position in the circle right now as well. This is fairly central for the circle as a whole. But as far as where it's going to shift, we really don't have any idea because the circles have been quite crazy today. If this was a pro circuit game, if we were on the pro settings, I would say Immunity could well win this game from where they are right now, which is a very early thing to call, but they have such a good position that you can almost sort of hedge your bets in that way. Right now, here at Red Bull Fight or Flight, everything kind of gets thrown out the window, and we have these crazy settings that sort of throw a spanner in the works, and I'm really not sure that this is actually going to be where the circle ends up.
Yeah, you'd be absolutely crazy to try to call something based on the things we've seen earlier today. At this stage, we do know Immunity in a very poised position, might break down to a game that they're more familiar playing, but just a little bit of quiet time now. Just finding their ways through the map, and as we can see, fighting for freedom. Just towards the bottom there, Sakura trying to play a similar playstyle to the last time. It did garner them as good as fourth, but like you were saying, Jordan, a couple of fourth places isn't going to bring home that chicken dinner, is it?
No, certainly not. For Velocity, they want to get off to a better start than they did in the last game as well, as we saw them looting up in Camp Bravo. They had a very, very early fight last game, and it didn't really work out for them or their opponents. But this time, 4 alive, heading into sort of the mid stages of the game. I mean, it's crazy to say we're only 3 minutes into the game, but I kind of feel like we're already in the mid stages of the game, as you're going to start to see teams now looking to rotate, teams looking to 2-2 split, that sort of thing. That's exactly what Justice is doing right now as well. You can see they've got the 2-2 split. You've got Headkick and Resolves that are doing a bit of scouting for their respective duo split. Player 4 and DJ Arnie are locking down the compounds themselves. So whichever way this circle goes, whether it goes to the west or towards the east, Justice are going to have a decent spot to play from. The only way they get kind of wrecked is if it goes hard south, but then they're probably not the only one that's going to be in that boat.
Yeah, very interesting. Yes, we do manage to see a very wholehearted Heaven there. Just kind of, what do you do at this stage if you're Heaven from Monster? He's lost all his teammates. He's on his own. He's stuck in the middle of the map. Do you just go out there, try to go on an absolute rampage?
I mean, you kind of have to do what was done for Sweaties in Game 2. You have to take that rank tank. You have to try and go for those placement points. Unlikely that you're going to make it all the way to second, quite frankly. But if you can get 1 or 2 points out of it, if you can make a 7th or an 8th, or maybe a 6th or a 5th even, those kinds of points can actually be critical based on how close we've seen some of these standings end up today.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully he does just get banged in the middle of the zone there, but if he has to rotate anywhere, look at the likes of the teams around him. He's got Justice, Team Bliss, Immunity. You don't favour his chances too much. Yep. You see Space Rats just starting to make a move. Space
Rats have got their own 2-2 split going on here. I think for the moment we're going to be seeing Kamzi and Mishka trying to join up with Husey and Macaboy, who have a little bit more of a central circle position. They're not too interested in actually committing to the 2-2 split. But right now, I wouldn't be expecting to see really too many teams actually on the rotate. We're going to have to wait and see what happens with this next circle. Where that shifts, that's where we're going to see the moves start to happen. And we will now find out as the circle does pop. Holy cow. Bring that one up. And I'm going to keep it suspense. Everyone can't see it yet, but this is a crazy circle. This is a pretty tough one.
Yeah, they've got a little glimpse of it there on the mini-map, but it's definitely not something that you'd see.
I tell you what, I think the observers right now are figuring out how they can actually get this on the screen, because it's literally basically gone off the map.
What are these circles?
There it is.
There you go. There you go.
I mean, what are you going to do? I feel sorry for the observers. You can't pan over further.
Well, it's just water.
Not much you can do.
You don't really expect to see anyone out there unless you see a bit more of that Sakura boat play coming out through. It's Mishka. Man on a mission here. Ooh. Got a nice line of sight there onto Textile from Team Bliss.
Oh, Kamzi's so close to Happy Navitas. I don't know that Team Bliss knows he's that close.
Yeah, I mean, this could be dangerous. There you go. Happy Navitas taking a couple of shots. Manages to land a few. And Macaboy, we've seen what he can do. Oh, there you go. Kamzi's super close. Doesn't get it done, though. And we're going to see an engagement here.
Oh, that's a big shot from Nick 101. A headshot actually in the back of the head. For Spaggy, he'll heal himself back up behind a tree, but this is the danger of Sanok, man. You just can't get locked down in a fight because there are people looking in your direction.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane. We know how Sanok plays in a normal circumstance, but here with these game settings, it's absolutely insane. And Mishka has managed to spot another Bliss player. Just trying to land a couple of those shots there, but not getting too much done. And it's taken a lot of damage for his trouble as well, but he's still staying in that sort of forward position there. He might be able to save.
Oh, this is an ambitious grenade.
Does he get onto Spaggy?
Just a bit too deep. If that would have bounced off of the tree, Spaggy would have been done. I heard a grenade. Oh, that was close. Kamzi, I don't know what saved him there, but something has.
Oh, too long. There you go, Spaggy opening up the accounts with the likes of Kamzi there. Mishka needs to get something done. There's KS, runs out of ammo. So this might be a nice little bank there. Team Bliss not performing to their standard in the previous map there. Mishka trying to find a couple of shots, but doesn't really get anything done. Gives away his location. Manages to get a great shot onto Testroy there. So, it's just going 1 for 1 right now. Doesn't look like either of the teams going to back away.
I tell you what, Team Bliss is back with a vengeance. You say they didn't perform the way they wanted to in that first map. Well, here in the second, they are really putting Space Rats under the pump. Immunity, I feel like, probably aren't doing enough, actually, here. They could have been pushing out. They could have been looking to get aggressive, try and third-party this fight. Of course, you do that, you open yourself up to a degree of risk. Happy Navitas, luckily, has a suppressor on his M16 there because he probably didn't want to get into an engagement with the blue at his back right now. And look at Textile. No HP to play with. Has to keep running to get safe inside the zone. He's got no meds. He's got nothing. No first aids. Obviously no bandages because you can't get them in this format. Doesn't even have any energy drinks. He's got nothing.
Yeah, he's got nothing. He's got Vasily staring right in his way as well as Insight manages to pick up Mishka.
Well, it's not confirmed just yet. It's just a knock. That might well be Resable, although as I say that, Nick 101 gets the knock onto Husey, who would have been the one to get the res onto Mishka. So that's 2 in the back pocket of Immunity. Vasily's been knocked. He is quite out of position, to be honest. He's knocked outside of the compound. And Immunity, I don't know that they're going to be able to get Vasily up here. I think they might be playing 3v4 for the rest of the game. Although, with that said, now what I'm seeing on the map is Team Bliss moving north. So actually, that does give a small semblance of respite for Immunity. I wonder if they can get Vasily back up.
It could be dangerous here as we do see Justice in a very powerful position right now. They might get that hard cover as well as Heaven, the lone warrior.
Well, Nick's got the res, but Spaggy bides his time. Very nicely done. That second knock now for Vasily. He'll bleed out faster. The rest of Immunity have started to wander across, but they need to be aware of what is behind them. Happy Navitas is coming.
Yeah, Happy Navitas is coming from at the bottom of the circle there. There's a flank coming in. It looks like the call's out. Team Bliss coming off to finish the likes of Immunity. And Chungi's landing a couple of great shots onto there. Just turning it on its head.
Chungi has just deleted Testroy. He's hitting shots. Vasily getting picked right back up. Insight covering fire this time. No shenanigans from Spaggy. But Happy Navitas is the X factor right now for Team Bliss.
Oh, but Happy Navitas is not alone as well.
Oh, man. Team Bliss are in a rough spot. They've got absolutely no meds at all. Space Rats as well in a rough spot. Macaboy hiding in the blue. He's got meds to play with, so there is that advantage. But so many teams in front of him that he has to rotate through. It's not going to be enjoyable.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy how this all worked out. Team Bliss coming to do the cleanup squad on Immunity, and they just flipped it over. Now it's happening over there. Let's position out known and Sakura likes a Mikhail, but no, he gets downed anyway. And there you go, Team Bliss. We thought this was a turnaround, Jordan, but unfortunately it is not.
No, it's been the turnaround for Immunity. If you remember, they did suffer that first knock with Vasily down on the ground, but they've showed good fundamentals. They've managed to get Vasily up twice, I might add, and they've dealt with the guy coming around behind. So they're covering all their angles. They're covering each other very, very well. They're rewarded now with a bit of a feed. Actually, they're only one of the compounds that does remain inside this safe zone. So this now does look like it should be Team Immunity's game to lose unless someone breaches them from behind unexpectedly. But realistically speaking, I think Immunity is good enough of a team to keep their eyes in the back of their head.
Yeah, definitely. We do see Sakura just flirting with the idea there. They're well aware there is a team in that compound, but I don't think they're going to try to take that fight with just 2 players.
Well, keep an eye on Velocity there because that's a 4 squad that's now about to breach as Munster, well, what remains of Munster runs into Team Bliss. So Textile able to pick 1 kill up, but that gives away his position. There's always another team on Samuel.
Yeah, that definitely is the case. You were talking about that Velocity breach, and Dak manages to get a few back. The likes of Zorms on Valor, but Somatic
that's good.
Just to find one.
That's really good from Velocity. Good fundamentals, good trading, going in together and playing as a team. They've done well to get control of that building. I think they're going to keep 2 up. Rapidos is down in the blue, so he's done.
Yeah, we see Sakura, Uev manages to find a nice one onto Big G, who was quite a strong player coming into those qualifiers, and now finds a double onto Taylor.
Oh, Chungi. No, it wasn't even Chungi. It was
Sakura.
I don't know. Head kick. It was head kick from Justice.
Oh, and then wiped.
How has he hit that?
Quick res is
That's
gone.
like all the way across the map.
It is Sandhawk. Probably like 48 meters.
It's about 200 meters.
Now it's just Chaos, just trying to get something done, but his position has been spotted. And that phase 5 is where it gets dangerous. The blue zone is pretty ruthless at that stage. Sakura's really getting some work done, but there you go, Velocity just managing to just come in and clean that up.
Oh, Somatic! He just gets headshot by Uev. And Sakura will survive a little bit longer. Velocity out in 5th. I mean, if I'm Immunity right now, I want to be getting rid of Justice. Spaggy might be doing that for us. Oh, Spaggy gets 2. Head kick. Takes a kick to the head. And this is what I was talking about earlier on today. When you're in this position, you don't want to be drawing attention to yourself. You just want to be lying down, slugging away, pretending you don't exist. And actually, that's even better for Team Immunity because they pick the points up. Player 4 has been stolen by Chungi, who is just an absolute madman right now.
There you go. You'd be crazy to think this was going any other way than Team Immunity. Nice nade from Spaggy onto head kick there. It's all done and dusted.
So 2 Justice players remain, 4 Immunity, 1 Sakura, and 1 Team Bliss. This is definitely Team Immunity's game to lose, and they've spotted out Ueb as well. So they know his position. They know roughly where DJ Arnie would be. They definitely know where Spaggy is. So pretty much Team Immunity knows where everyone is.
Yeah. And they've got all 4 up. And the team do so.
Yeah. Those are some good shots, and that's another one in the back pocket of Chungi. God damn, this guy is just destroying everything. I don't know what he had for breakfast, mate, but he's slaying.
Ooh, Spaggy just tries to get something down onto DJ Arnie there, but manages to get tagged down to 5 health, so it looks like it's going to be all but done for him as well. Just a matter of splitting between that first and second. Insight manages to get the finish onto that as well, and there is a nice nade from Chungi, the man of the hour. Team Immunity taking out first spot.
Well, you sort of sensed it coming in that first game. They were fragging well. As I said, if you keep 4 alive into the late game stages, you're going to be able to frag out, and that is exactly what Chungi was able to do. Another 4 kills on the board for him. It's not quite as big of a win as it was for Justice, but they do go back-to-back, and Immunity and Justice still sticking in that top 3 together. It's going to be a great race going into Game 3.
Yeah, that was the sort of match number 2 that we wanted to see to set up an absolutely epic match number 3, that is for sure. Team Immunity coming through with the goods. I think I saw they got 8 kills as well, so that should give them 18 points on the scoreboard. What were they on? 13 or something the first time they won? I don't know if that's
12, I think it was.
So they're going to be getting there. Justice still going to get some points. They did pretty well.
Justice will get 12 out of that game as well.
Maybe not necessarily well enough, but 12 points is still quite a lot, right? That is a lot. And again, Sakura coming in 4th, getting a ton of kills. And look, DK, this has actually been a pretty good run from them. Even if they may not be the team heading across to Oakland to check out PGC, we got 2nd and 3rd prize to play for, and these guys would love some Omi gear, I suspect.
Yeah, there's definitely a 2nd and 3rd, and placing in 2nd and 3rd with the likes of these teams is just an achievement in itself.
Yeah, exactly right. There's some good plays here as we work through the replays. You can see Happy Novitas almost running out of rounds there.
These kinds of situations are why in a pro game you won't see teams kind of contesting each other. They're much more content to drop in specific locations that they all sort of, in a way, kind of have a gentleman's agreement of, where they can all get loot, they can all sort of figure themselves out and then play the game out from there. But it's not really an option here at Red Bull Fight or Flight because there's so many teams that aren't necessarily expected. There's so much going on. The circle shifts so quickly, so you can't really drop in your standard locations.
Yeah, it kind of plays out like the real world. If you put a bunch of people on an island, you know, they're probably going to go do their own thing. But as it shrinks or population grows, that's when things, you know, you start to get into it.
Honestly, I'm finding the first boat and getting out of there.
Yeah, just not through the blue
Is there already
zone.
a shirt, Jordan? Because if there isn't, you should make one. There's always someone on Sandhawk.
There's always someone.
Like it. Pop the sticker.
Yeah, there is. I mean, it's third-party central because it is the smallest map in PUBG.
Yep.
And it's like compounded because of the format that we've got here at Red Bull Fight or Flight. Not only is the map smaller, but the zone itself is smaller and faster as well. So you're just getting collapsed and collapsed and collapsed upon different teams quicker and quicker, and inevitably, that's a perfect name, by the way. But yeah, I mean, it just really compounds upon itself, and you do get these kind of crazy fights.
Yeah. So Justice do manage to sneak themselves into 2nd spot. Not bad, not bad. Team Bliss doing a little bit better this time around. They'll pick up some kills, some points. And as we said, Sakura coming through in 4th once again. Look, some interesting results, that's for sure, but it definitely puts us in prime position for this 3rd and final match to count.
Yeah, I'd say there's probably maybe 3 teams jostling for the very, very top prize. Definitely a lot more going for the 2nd and 3rd place prizes there as well. Immunity, obviously, as we said, picking up 18 points off of that game. Sakura have done really well, 9 kills. And yeah, despite the fact that they come 4th, they actually get the 2nd amount of points out of that game.
Yeah. So they could be sitting in like 2nd or 3rd spot.
I think they're in the
3rd spot. So.
I would say I think they're in the 3rd spot. Immunity and Justice will be taking 2nd and 1st respectively. And for me, those are the 3 teams that can challenge in this final game for the top spot. But Team Bliss, Valor, Velocity, Space Rats, they're probably all still in the discussion for a top 3 placing.
Yes.
I'm not sure they're going to be able to get enough points to make a top 1.
Yeah, well, we spoke to Justice before. This time around, it's going to be Team Immunity, our match 2 winners. Miles, over to you.
Cheers, boys. I'm here with Chungy and also with Nick101. Mate, well done about that one. Give us a quick run through. Actually, Chung, we'll ask you to answer this one. Quick run through of what happened in that matchup. You know, obviously, solid-looking performance, come out on top, nice number of kills. What happened for you guys?
So from the first game, we felt like we weren't playing as aggressive as we should have. So coming into the second game, we knew that we had to change our dynamic of our game. So pushing forward, taking a lot of, I guess, third-person sort of advantage, pushing in, you know, take whatever we can. And then from that point on, it just felt like natural.
Sounds good to me. What a plan. Mate, what's it like playing on this setup, Nick? I mean, obviously, like, you know, you're in a completely different environment to what you're used to playing at home. You're obviously an experienced player, but is it very different out here? I mean, what are the comms like in these intense situations?
The setup's good, the open gear's great, but the comms are just calm, collected, you know. Like he said, we need to change it up, get a bit more aggressive, so just kept it calm, cool, collected, did what we had to do.
I like that a lot. Mate, any shout-outs you want to give to anyone back home or in the crowd?
Yeah, there are a couple shout-outs. For Inside, shout out to Shay. And for back at home, shout out to all the boys at Cyber Games who are supporting me and supporting the team.
Mate, I love that. What about you? You got anything?
Shout out to Max Payne and Evieside, two #1 supporters.
Love that. Gentlemen, thank you very, very much. Take your seats, get back into that one. Good luck in the final matchup. Ben, back to you.
Thank you very much, Miles. Cool, calm, and collected, the guys from Team Immunity. And they should be feeling pretty good, Jordan, because they're sitting in probably one of the two positions that potentially could see you as champion today.
It's all going to come down to this final game. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're still sitting in second place, Team Immunity there, so they do have a bit of work to do, bit of points to catch back up on, but they're definitely within the sort of strike zone. I'm going to call that about 10 points. I'm going to call that my strike zone. If you're within 10 points, you have a good game, your opponent has a bit of a weaker game, you can definitely overturn that in one game.
All right, well, let's go and see who is within 10 points of striking distance. Up on top, it is Justice, 38 points, but Team Immunity coming through 30, only 8 points behind. A good match from them, an average match from Justice. We'll see that turn around. I just want to shout out again, Sakura, third place right now, 21 points, 6 points ahead of Team Bliss.
Yeah, definitely.
And Space Rats. Look at that. These guys are doing great. Some people thought that we were joking when we said we were leveling the playing field, but this proves that a team can come in, play on this gear, and come out in a very good position.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, looking at these standings, I actually think I'm going to retract my statement of saying it was a 3-horse race and probably make it a 2-horse race at this point. It is technically possible, mathematically definitely possible for Sakura, even for Team Bliss, if they have a massive game, to overtake Justice, but you would really require Justice to get 0 points out of that. And for Sakura, if you do the maths, a 17-kill win is what they're going to need to overtake Justice, not to mention the fact that you'd also be waiting to see what Team Immunity was going to be able to pick up in that situation as well. So pretty unrealistic, while possible. Definitely looks like a 2-horse race to me. For the rest of them, though, there's definitely a lot that can play off for that second and third position.
Look, if Sakura hot drops Justice and Immunity and wipes them out and wins the game, they're probably going to Oakland. But for now, it's our Intel play of the game.
I wonder what the Intel player game has to be here.
Oh, yeah.
Doing exactly what he needed to do. And I mean, this sort of, in a way, if it wasn't already confirmed for Team Immunity, kind of gifted the win to Team Immunity. Because Justice, at this point, still had 4 alive. If Spaggy doesn't get those 2 knocks, there may still be a world in which Justice can actually frag out and beat Team Immunity. But Spaggy's kind of given them a bit of a lifeline there and given us a very, very nice run going into Game 3. So, had to say thank you very much, Spaggy, for getting those 2 knocks, and he'll obviously finish off head kick here as well with the nade. A very nicely placed one.
Not bad at all. That's exactly how you want to play that one out, John. As you said, if you get yourself stuck, potentially the last player on your team, you have to play smart. You're playing for positioning, but in this situation, he also got some kills as well.
Yeah,
just the one.
Just on what you said before, Ben, I
Chucky
kind
got
of
stole.
laughed at it a little bit when you said Sakura, maybe try to find a hot drop to the likes of Immunity and Justice. You know how technically able they are. But I mean, could you imagine a storyline where they do when they take out these two teams? It'd be absolutely like mind-blowing.
I'm totally on the ball with that, by the way. I really want to see the hot drop.
Well, they got nothing to lose.
The thing is, though, the problem is you don't know where anyone else is dropping.
Yeah, that's the problem.
This isn't Pro Circuit. You know, Team Immunity's not dropping in Pachinki, and Justice isn't dropping in their normal location. We're not on
If the circle's up there again, Justice drop hearts in.
Okay, if the circle's there
on the stage,
you probably know about that, but that aside, it's probably not possible.
Look, to be fair, Justice doing pretty well. They're sitting on top at the moment. How do we think they're truly going to go? If we take a look at their team info, lots of damage on the board. Lots of fans in the audience and lots of kills to boot as well.
Look, if I had to say, Ben, I think they're performing well enough. They're performing consistently enough today to actually win. I think that 8 points is going to be quite a lot to overcome for Team Immunity. So unless Justice totally bombs out here, you know, they get knocked out really, really early in the piece and don't get any points, I think that lead is going to be just enough for Justice to keep that first place and end up taking that spectator spot at PGC. We have seen 3 games from them, if you include the show match where 3 of their 4 players played, and in all 3 of them, they've really been playing quite admirably. So I got to say, I think Justice have got this. The only one that can catch them is Team Immunity, so I'm pretty excited to see how it's going to pan out.
I'm pretty excited to see how it pans out too, and I'm even more excited to see if Sakura can come away with the win. Yes, they're not going to be listed here as winners so far. It's Justice into Immunity. But if you see Sakura right there a little bit later on today, and you see Immunity and Justice falling by the wayside, maybe they take each other out, they get third-partied by Sakura, then all bets are off, Elfish Guy.
17 kill win for Sakura would be enough if no points come for Justice and about 8 points come for Team Immunity. Then it comes down maybe to the kill difference.
Yes.
So in that instance, you probably want to say 18 kill win just to put you that 1 point over. You don't have to worry about that. But I think if they get the 17 kill win, they probably have the advantage in the kill rankings as well, just from what I can see. And they got 9 kills in the last game, so you know they're actually fragging well.
They are actually getting better and better.
It's the placements that are letting them down.
Yeah, better and better across the course of the day. What an absolutely beautiful stage we have here at Carriage Works. A lot of effort has gone into this event between Red Bull and Omen. They put a lot into this, and I think the community very much has been rewarded because this is cool. This is a great opportunity for the pros, for the amateurs, for the fans, and just to shake things up just a little bit. You cannot you cannot overstate just how cool this is for someone who normally gets to watch at home to play up there with the pros.
I definitely think for the PUBG community, it's pretty big. You know, they're a community that's sort of chomping at the bit for these live events.
Yeah.
We do have a lot of online leagues and that kind of thing, but there's something special about going to a LAN, going to an environment like this and being able to play on a stage and meet your fellow competitors. That's a big, big thing for teams and for squads and for these guys coming here and playing today. So look, for the PUBG community, I think this is fantastic. I'd love to see more of it going into 2020.
Me too.
Particularly for the PUBG community, because you know, to me, it seems like a game that sometimes does get forgotten about when it comes to these bigger events. But one of my favorite games to cast at the moment, as I'm pretty sure you can tell, I'm like a bit of a motor mouth at the moment, but I'm really having a great time. And this game 3, I think, is going to be an absolute belter.
DK, this is what it's all about, right? This PUBG community, look, normally, you got to get like up to 100 players in the same place to play on LAN. So they don't get to see each other all the time. But when they do, as I said before, gaming is very social. It is not antisocial. And you can see from the enjoyment everyone's got here today, some of these players maybe haven't even met each other before. They played online, they're best friends. But this time they get to play together on stage, sitting side by side with a shot at Oakland.
Yeah, it's been a nice couple of weeks. These players absolutely love each other. Jordan, I wasn't privy to that after party last week, but there's definitely a lot of love there, isn't there?
Oh, yeah, it was kind of going off. I don't know that we're going to get quite as good of a one here because there's not as many people coming, but we'll see how it goes.
Well, the party is now, Elfish Guy. This is the last match of the Red Bull Fight or Flight powered by Omen. For the very last time today, we drop onto Sandhawk. Justice, Team Immunity, potentially Sakura. Who is going to come out on top? Who is going over to the PUBG Global Championship Grand Finals to check out the best players in the world? Once in a lifetime experience. Let's see how it plays out.
And who will be our Red Bull Fight or Flight champion? The first Red Bull Fight or Flight champion as well at that. And you know what? I'm happy to see a circle that's a little bit more standard. This is what you really expect to see on Sanhok.
What a wonderful 3 maps we've been treated to. We went northwest, then went southeast, and now we're going slap in the middle. We don't know where it'll shift. Maybe it'll just give us a nice vanilla one to finish off this series, but very interesting to see Immunity in a nice place. Justice, even better. Obviously, all eyes on the kill feed if you're either one of those 2 teams to see where it's at. And really, it's one of those teams to lose. Hopefully they don't bomb out.
I mean, if I'm going to be honest, I think there's still a world in which this circle can go hard shifting to the northwest and we
just
end up
finish in the water there.
The Camp Alpha Island. Yeah, look, we can finish in the water as well on a bridge or something like that. Not going to be too ideal. Immunity, though, hedging their bets. And Danny, you're going to be well aware of this. I love my stats. I love my sort of history. I've been tracking where the Sanhok circles do tend to end. Not at this event, but in general, they do like to go pretty much smack bang in between that 2-2 split that Immunity have right now. Again, though, I do want to put out that caveat that I'm not sure that's exactly how it's going to pan out today here at Red Bull Fight or Flight. There's something with the circles at this event that is just sending them all over the map. And I'm not sure that we're going to get to see something too standard outside of maybe this phase 1 circle.
Very interesting. And look at Sakura and Justice there. If they find an engagement, they find a knock, they're going to get a lot of information. They're going to know they're facing off against each other. We might see some interesting players come up, but it looks like player 4 is just going to drive away to safety and not too much of an engagement there. That could have gotten really interesting, really fast there. But it looks like we're just going to settle down a little bit. I'm just more excited where that circle ends up, really.
Me too, but for Team Immunity, I don't know that they're too excited about what has occurred here. Space Rats have essentially dropped right on top of Team Immunity, so you do have Vasily and Chungi who are essentially sort of stuck in their building. I mean, obviously the same case for those Rats players, but this is actually going to be a pretty impactful engagement in the grand scheme of the storyline of this game. If Immunity win this one, pick up those 4 points, that's 4 less points that they have to overturn against Justice. If they get knocked out, basically Justice is through.
I mean, they can do the maths in their head, but they don't really get to see the scoreboard on the stage there, right? Justice must have some idea, but if Immunity come up on that kill feed early on, there might just be a bit of a set and forget there.
I mean, and Space Rats know definitely that Team Immunity are hanging around here. They know that there's someone. I don't know that it's Team Immunity, so to speak, but they do know that there's someone very close. And it doesn't seem like either of these teams are particularly interested in taking an early engagement because both teams are actually in the running for the prizes. You know, for Immunity, a first place. For Space Rats, definitely at least a third is on the cards. Maybe even a second if they have a good game. See what Insight can do here. He has been spotted, doesn't connect any shots. So that would have been the first knock that Immunity really would have liked to have seen.
Yeah, this could be absolutely crazy in a few seconds here. Immunity, remember what they said in the interview, Nick 101? They weren't aggressive enough. They need to get more aggressive. They know there's a squad lined up there. Chungi, you expect him to hit a bit better than that. Unfortunately, Hughes getting a nice couple of tags up onto him, but doesn't get the down. And this could be the fight that leads him to either that top prize or makes him bung out.
I don't think Chungi has a helmet right now, and that is really not fun at all. Luckily, Hughes is firing 5.6, not 7.62, otherwise that would have been a one-shot headshot. Mishka here with a grenade. Sends it right at Vasily's building, but it's going to bounce off the door, so that's okay. No door available now, though, for Vasily, so he just needs to be a little bit more careful. You are starting to see the reinforcements come in here for Nick and Insight. They're dealing with Kamzi. What? He's gone for the cross. There's a grenade in the back pocket here of Nick. He should be able to get Kamzi here with a good nade. Or he's going to continue the push. Oh, no.
See what it does. Here comes the nade onto Kamzi. We'll see if we can open up the account. Here we go.
Deep.
Oh, yep. Just overcooks it a little bit too much there.
But you can see, this is where Immunity know they have the advantage. It's a 2v1. Kamzi can't be helped by the guys in the compound. They need to get rid of Kamzi so that they can help their buddies out in the compound.
Let's see what happens as we see Rapidos on velocity here. But back to the Immunity fight. This is the action. This is where it could all be done and dusted for Immunity. They need to get away with the win. They need to take this fight. Come out. Insight going for the cross there. But like you said, Kamzi's got to dig his way out of the situation. Gets down.
There's nothing you can do. You have so many angles to watch. That was perfectly played by Nick and by Insight. So now they've broken up the... Oh my god, Chungi. He's just gotten Husey. You could barely even see him on your screen. And Chungi's like, see you later, mate. 2.5 second revive. Not a big problem for Space Rats. But I mean, that's looking good now for Team Immunity. This fight, this engagement is going their way.
Yeah, that's the Chungi we all know and love, and Insight going to join the fight here, so we'll see if they can clear off the likes of the Space Rats nice and early.
They know they have the 3v4, so they should be playing aggressive here. And they said they wanted to play aggressive.
Yeah, they absolutely
need to. They need to play aggressive. They need to get points. They need to overtake what Justice has been able to do. So they need to get 8 more points than what Justice can in this game. And to do that, you have to find frags. You have to hunt these kills down.
For anyone playing at home, Top Gun's wiped off the mat again, so maybe a bit of a commentator's curse there from myself and the Sandman. But there you go, Ben. You thought we were crazy, and I guess we were.
I thought you were crazy, not Ben.
Oh, sorry, yes, Jordan.
Ben was the one of the crazy ones.
Yes, you do. You are the seasoned expert analyst. I guess you got it there.
Well, Space Rats, they do have a nice couple of players sitting in this building here. So Immunity aren't going to find the easiest way of pushing in. It's a lot harder to trade out when there is 2 players there, but they continue to whittle them down. I think we're going to start seeing Space Rats running out of health, out of heal items, and that's where Immunity are going to start to put the pressure in. It's right now, it's kind of a war of attrition for Team Immunity. They're a lot freer to look for more loot, to find more heals, but Space Rats are kind of hunkered down. They're kind of stuck in their compound there.
This is getting tantalizing here. We'll see where Justice moves.
That's the interesting thing for me as well. Justice is kind of moving in the direction of Space Rats and Team Immunity as well. So that could really come to a head very, very quickly. Anyway, Fighting for Freedom are sticking around. Proco just surviving for his roster at the moment, but on the very edge of the blue, it's starting to come in. He still has to cross the river, which is going to be disastrous, really. I don't see a world in which he actually gets into this circle yet.
No res, maybe. find one onto Rapidos there. Dak trying to get the trade back, as it is actually Frozen Sniper manages to get a third party into there. He's just getting a little bit overcooked, maybe.
He needs to bounce it off the tree, which I think he's cottoned onto. Oh, it's gone too far.
A bit too far again.
Well, there's just a... I mean, it's a third-party city at the moment, isn't it? Textiles gotten involved. There goes Somatic. I think Velocity are probably out of the running now. They were within the discussion for the top 3, but now things are slipping away a little bit, particularly when you consider it's Team Bliss that's getting the points out of this one, and Team Bliss was definitely another one of those teams that was really making a run for top 3. There's another one onto Rapidos. Textile, great work at the moment with the QBU.
I think all eyes are towards that center of the circle there. We'll see where this next one goes. Looks like Justice and Mew might meet themselves, but we do look at the Sweaties right now. They made them their way through the qualifiers, and a nice little knock there.
I think Immunity, I mean, what I'm seeing on the map is that they're actually moving away from that fight. So they're just going to try and look for a bit more of a center circle position here. They're going to play the long game and hope for the best in that respect. Maybe a 2-2 split here if they leave Insight and Nick in the compounds that they're at. But this is pretty smart. This is very good from Team Immunity. It's very likely that the circle does end up shifting right basically into where they are. So I think you hedge your bets here a little bit as Immunity, and as long as you don't get knocked on the rotate, you should have a pretty good time in this game. See where it goes. Again, a bit of a crazy circle shift, but because Team Immunity are already on the move, it's actually a very nice circle for them. And you can hear as the crowd has reacted to that circle as well. It's not a great shift for Justice. They have a long run, and they're already with the blue at their back. Player 4 is in the water with a boat. I think he's cooked. He's done. He's not getting out there alive. DJ Arnie, head kick and resolves, might still be able to make it in here, but it is going to be a rough run, and they're going to go straight through Space Rats. And if they get through Space Rats, guess who they run into?
Yep, they run into the contenders in the likes of Immunity there. Very interesting. Player 4 has been out there for a little while. Hopefully he's got something planned. It is still only phase 3, so there is a chance he might make it back. It would be an awesome shame if Justice go out to the zone, but it looks like Resolve has spotted one of the Rats players. We'll see if he can make it work here, as the circle is working in Immunity's favor. This is crazy, Jordan. This comes down to this one map for those tickets. I mean, this is California.
This is the best part of PUBG. You know, when you come down to the final game, you're waiting to see what's going to happen. It's fantastic. It's, you know, the suspense is kind of what it sort of ends up being all about. Valor there for one tap. Has copped a couple of bullets. Grenade not going to finish him off. 21 HP is going to get that first aid kit off okay. Another grenade goes back in the direction of Quick Res, but doesn't connect this time. The smoke will provide some cover here for one tap, even though it looks like it doesn't. Still, he pushes forward. Big G should get that frag, but he misses every shot, and one tap puts him in the ground.
One tap, we know what he's capable of there. He's going to find a couple players that manages to get through in that smoke cover, but looks like Justice is going to get on towards the likes of Resolve. And Husey does get taken down, so it looks like they're going to run into Space Rats and might come out a bit better for where there is. Immunity actually runs to secure another one of the contenders, so it's all happening here. Mikhail getting tagged down, and Happy No Videz manages to find a nook and flush him down.
Yeah, Space Rats have actually gotten that first knock there onto DJ Arnie. That's one of the Justice players down. A good trade back from Resolves. Head kick has actually gone down in the circle. Player 4 is still out of the discussion, but he's found himself a vehicle, so might be able to still get back in here. And all in the meanwhile, Immunity is picking up points.
Player 4, what is just running it so line? There's so
They're
much on the line. What are you doing? Oh, and there's a fight here. Resolves does get taken
what a
down.
shot.
The kill feed has informed them. This is the team they need to take out. This is vital. And it's Player 4
Justice is done. I'm sorry, Justice is done. There is no way.
This is for everything, Player 4. You're just cruising around the blue zone, taking damage. I can't watch. This is too hard.
He's gone. He's got to get back in the circle, driving right at Nick 101. Look at this. He should be dead, and he is. Team Immunity, dispatcher of Justice.
What is he doing, Jordan? What was that from Justice?
This is the sweetest storyline Immunity could have written, because now Justice is out of the picture. All they really need to do here, I think, is get one more point, and they're going to equalize with Justice.
Is that
any
one?
further,
Is that elfish math?
Well, we'll see. I'm sure they can bring up the live standings for us, Danny, if they so desire, the observers in the back there. But there is very, very slim amounts of points in here, and I think Immunity have done it.
Yeah, they just need to be poised now. We know they're capable. We know they're mechanically sound, as they do have a nice position here in these last few phases as well. All 4 up.
Let's keep an eye on that second and third place battle as well, as it does look like first place may well be locked up now by Team Immunity. Team Bliss have had a great end. Okay, and I lie, it's not just the 1 point. Team Immunity need 3 more points, so they need to make it to probably 4th place here, get a couple more kills. It's not over just yet for Justice, but really it's out of their hands.
Yeah, I mean, it's that long, anxious wait. And this is it. This is what it comes down to. Maybe a bit upset they didn't do more. They've managed to do something. Bliss
and Valor are fighting for that third place.
20 apiece.
Well, lots of big points on offer right now. Blue zone damage taken. That's not a stat that you want to be up the top for, and Space Rats are unfortunately there. Team Bliss are quite high up as well. That said, Team Bliss are actually fragging up a storm in this game. I think they've only got 2 players left alive, but those two, Happy Navitas and Textile, are just putting damage in. Now 5 players left alive. That's another point on the board for Team Immunity, as worst place now that they can get is 5th. They're getting ever closer to Justice. It's probably 2 points the difference now, maybe even only 1.
All right, we're heading into phase 5. What is there a world if Valor just don't get into the zone and die into the blue? Should Immunity just go out there and find them? And
no, because if Valor goes into the blue and dies, they get the placement point anyway.
Placement point.
So right now for Immunity, it's a case of actually flighting rather than fighting. You just want to survive to the top 4, and I'm pretty sure that'll be it.
Yeah.
Right now, they're looking really good to actually do that because there's no one on their side of the map.
Oh, Macaboy. We know what he's capable of.
1v4 for Macaboy. Look, he's a great player, but I don't back him in a 1v4 against Immunity.
Did you not see his boomerang grenade before?
Sorry, buddy. That was only 1 kill, by the way, Danny.
It was.
It's
it was a flashy kill, though. I don't know how that didn't get the intel play of the game, but...
Oh, my God. What is that? You can talk about boomerang grenades.
That's a long arm there. That's a Tom Brady if ever I've seen one.
That was actually Macaboy's grenade, by the way.
He likes his mate there. Nick trying to find one onto the likes of Chaos there. And Team Bliss racking up the points. Of course, they were even heat for that 3rd place. There's a great prize pool still to be garnered for the 2nd and 3rd place teams. But of course, we're watching Immunity, IM, to see if they can bank the points and get those flights. It was a bit of a shame they didn't actually make it to be a participating team in PGC, but I mean, this is a pretty good consolation.
I mean, this is about as good as it's going to get.
Yeah.
If you don't actually make the event, you get to go and watch the event. It's still going to be a great time, I think, for whoever does end up going, whether it is Justice or Immunity. Team Bliss, or what remains of it, creeping away next to the quarry, underneath Team Immunity, underneath Valor. And even underneath them is Noogs and Macaboy. So both of the solos just trying to slug it out, hide away, not too interested in taking any engagements. It's really on this 4v4, on the top side of the map, at the top of the hill. That 4v4 is going to dictate how the rest of this game is going to pan out.
It's tense. We're going into the last 10 seconds of phase 5. It's going to close in faster than you can imagine, and that's just down to this 4-4. Nice little drop there. We'll see if they go for it. Might be something to grab hold onto and take advantage in this team fight that is incoming.
You can tell these teams are not messing around. They don't want to get into any kinds of engagements right now. They are really just sitting pretty. They're waiting for someone else to sort of give them some info, fire a couple of shots, make some noise, do something. Because no one wants to make that first mistake that's going to potentially knock them out of 1st, potentially knock them out of 3rd. And that is what might well have just happened there for Team Bliss as Pulse gets Noogs. Noogs got Textile, and Textile's on the ground now, dead. Happy Navitas, the last alive for Team Bliss, does just get a bit of damage there into Space Rats, and I think now top 3 for Team Bliss might be enough. Pulse gets another point inside onto Happy Navitas. That is now a top 2 placing for Team Immunity. Surely they have done enough.
Yeah, it does seem to be the case, but it's nice to just kind of put that nail in that coffin there. Pulse does manage to take down Nick, though. So now it's just down to Vasily and the likes of Insight there, just dancing around towards the outer edge of that circle. That blue touch there, down. Nice shot from Insight onto Pulse there, and it looks like they might have an opportunity here. 2v1 to close it out. And Chaos gets knocked down. 1-tap. He needs to find the 1-taps here. 2.5 second res come into play. That
can
nice
actually get it.
Yeah,
there shouldn't be any grenades this late in the game for Team Immunity. They would have thrown all of theirs already. So in fact, actually, everyone's pretty much going to get their team back on up. And this is not what we would normally see in PUBG. That 2.5 second revive paying dividends for both teams.
Oh, Imposter zone, and that is the factor. There you go. Team Immunity take out 1st place, and surely they are the team going to California.
I think they might have done it, Danny, and I think they know it as well. What a final game to finish things off. And by the way, back-to-back for Team Immunity, exactly what they needed. A 3rd place in Game 1, 1st place in Game 2, 1st place in Game 3, and you have to think that is going to be enough to go to PGC.
Look, Alfish Guy, they needed to come strong in match number 2. They got the points on the board. It came to match number 3. And the pressure was on, and we saw that the pressure unfortunately got to Justice, and a little bit, unlucky for them perhaps, but Team Immunity definitely coming through with the goods. I don't want to preempt anything here, but we can all agree that Team Immunity could not have done any more to secure their spot than what they just did.
Look, all I'm saying is they could have come first in Game 1 as well.
I'm talking about match number 3, Elfish Guy. Talk us through these replays.
Well, look, I mean, across the board, this was actually a crazy final game. I almost wish we got to see more games, Ben, because these really were starting to heat up when we got into the grand final.
It's only 6:50. Can we? No, we can't keep going.
Oh,
never mind.
Maybe we can come back tomorrow?
It is Sunday.
Yeah. Anyway, look, I think this was such a great format to kind of get a look at. When we got into this grand final, we could really sort of see the stakes raised quite substantially from versus what we saw in the last chance qualifiers going into this grand final when we had those really solid teams coming into effect. I mean, this was kind of high stakes, high intensity PUBG that you don't really get to see when you look at Pro Circuit and that kind of thing. It was a lot faster, and you can see that coming out from the replays as well. The fights are frantic, everything sort of starts to speed up, and yes, while there were some slower moments, you kind of like seeing those slower moments as well. You know, it's like the eye before the storm or the eye in the middle of the storm. In
Yes, the eye certainly doesn't come before the storm. That's the calm.
Indeed.
But look, Jordan, as they say, the blue zone giveth and the blue zone taketh away, and that was certainly the case for some of these teams today.
Oh, Justice.
Dude, it was, yeah.
You got a feel for them, don't you?
You do got a feel for them because they played so well in game number 1. What do we say? 16 elims or something. They got only one team did better than them today in terms of eliminations in a single match, and it just started to fall apart for them, unfortunately, as they made their way through. Valor doing pretty well, picking up second, and what's that? Another 12 points as well.
Yep.
So that'll be 18 points for them when you add in the placing results. So not bad at all. Sakura, look, they might find themselves bumped out of 3rd spot there as well. Not the match that they were looking for, but still, they should be very proud of the results that they found for themselves today.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that we always talk about when we are watching PUBG and playing PUBG and casting PUBG is that the consistency is key. And for the teams that really want to go the distance, that want to take that first place, they really need to be playing consistently across the board. And that's what we saw in the first 2 games from Justice. They just couldn't get it going in the 3rd game. Immunity across all 3 games were very, very consistent. I guess another team that you would have to give a quick shout out to is Team Bliss, who really didn't have a great start, but came good in Game 2 and Game 3.
Yeah.
So they're in the discussion for a top 3 placing.
It's kind of the reverse story of Justice, right? They started off poorly, but managed to pick it up in the end. It's almost a little bit better than dropping short in the final match.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, if there is a world where our maths is totally wrong, I think it was like literally one hand finger counting maths where Team Justice do nip it out. I think Immunity can be very happy. They did absolutely everything they could in that last map.
And all I'm going to say, if that is ending up to be the case, then you're welcome for us setting up such a great storyline.
Well, Elfish Guy, I know the answer. After 1,000 people have competed across this tournament, 3 huge days at PAX Australia, 3 big online qualifiers, and a massive day here at Carriageworks. It is my absolute pleasure to announce your Red Bull Fight or Flight powered by Omen inaugural champs. It is Team Immunity!
Oh, look.
What an absolutely stellar job from these 4 players. As you saw, moving from position number 1 on the stage, they qualified first. They just missed out on making it through to the PUBG Global Championships Grand Final as competitors, but nonetheless, they now find themselves heading over to Oakland, California to go and watch the games, enjoy the action, still be part of what it is all about as they lift the trophy. Give it up once again for our champions. It is Team Immunity.
Gentlemen, well done. A stunning, stunning victory. Well done, fellas. Look, you made that adaptation after the first map and you never, ever looked back. You can't fault that gameplay. Well done.
Yeah, you can't fault the gameplay. Yeah, you can't.
Any final thoughts?
No, we just, like I told you before the game, we just pulled it together, did what we had to do.
Were you at all nervous that you weren't going to get enough points, or you reckon you just had this one in the bag?
Look, after Justice had that first game, that was some pretty big points on the board. So look, it's not going to lie, it was a little bit daunting going like, we have to have 2 big games to catch up. We had that first win, but it had only 8 kills, so it wasn't that good. We knew we needed something else to pull out of the bag. So we just made sure we had to watch out to see what Justice were doing. We saw that they were south of us in the blue coming out, when that was our chance to turn around, focus on them, forget about everything else, and it worked out in our favor. So it was really good games. It was pretty close. So definitely pretty excited to make it over the line and come in first place. So
You!
Shay, what are you looking forward to most about getting to the States?
The food, the people that are there. I mean, honestly, it's good that our community that we have over there that's competing right now, we've got Vendetta, we've got Atletico, we're all close in the community, and it's good to go out there and cheer OC. So, I mean, the community's great, and I mean, we just want to look forward to what PUBG has to give us in the future.
Thank you, mate.
I mean, apart from OCE, because we know that we're a bunch of larrikins, right? We're definitely going to be supporting the Osh boys. Any other pro teams that you're looking forward to maybe bumping into, getting some tips off, or been watching quite closely?
Oh, definitely a bit of a FaZe Clan fan, but yeah, I think Fury's a bit better. So shout out to my boys Fury at home. But yeah, I'm friends with a few of the European teams because I've competed over there before. So just keen to hang out with them and just enjoy the event.
Amazing. Have a wonderful time. It sounds great, eh, Miles?
Sounds great. Ladies and gentlemen, once more for your Red Bull Fight or Flight champions, Team Immunity.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, an absolutely amazing result for Team Immunity. Jordan, look, bittersweet perhaps for them. They weren't able to make it through as competitors, but they still get to go anyway, thanks to Red Bull and thanks to Omen. Like, that's pretty cool. You can enjoy it more, you can relax. Maybe they'll even still get to play some scrims, you know. Just enjoy the whole experience that is PGC.
Yeah, definitely. I wonder if they can actually use that as a bit of a mini boot camp in a way. Depends on what the intentions are for this roster going into the future.
Yeah.
Whether they're going to stick together, whether this is sort of their last event competing together, who knows. I mean, you say it's bittersweet. I think for this roster, you know, they got the bitter out of the way last week. That's all done and dusted. This really is only just a sweet moment for them. You know, this is your victory, and you got to take with that what comes.
A very good victory as well, DK. They certainly deserved it. They came through. They had the goods today. And look, we talked about how things had changed up, how Immunity qualified through packs. It had been a month. But look at that. 50 points on the board. A full 9 points clear of Justice. Team Bliss coming in third. And oh man, just pipping Sakura.
And it's beautiful there as well for Team Immunity. If you look at the placement points versus the kill points, perfect balance, you know, everything in harmony for Team Immunity. I reckon they're pretty zen, you know, they've been doing their meditation, they've sorted it all out. 1.67 average placement as well is incredible, Ben.
Yeah, not bad. I guess that's what happens when you get first 2 times in a row out of 3 matches. But 50 points, very much clear, as we said, of Justice, who unfortunately just fell short in that last match. Team Bliss going to round out the top 3. They had a pretty slow start to the grand finals, but certainly amped it up, and Sakura just missing out on the points.
Valor, they've gone mirrored each other. Crazy.
Yep. And they have the same kill record. Yeah.
What's
the next tiebreaker?
I don't know. I don't even know. But look, Jordan, this might sound silly, and you hear it a lot, but I genuinely feel like everyone here today is a winner because they got a chance to play on stage. They got a chance, you know, to come up there, play against some pros, take them on, and to be fair, DK, some of these amateur players really took it to them.
Yeah, absolutely. We saw like Sakura, and we saw some great outstanding individual play there. But, you know, Immunity, I guess, they're stalwarts of the OS PUBG community, right?
Yeah.
And very deservingly so, they get this trip there. And in a lot of ways, I'm very jealous. I mean, I've seen a lot of these prize pools get given out, but, you know, cash is cash. This is, you can't buy these tickets that they're getting. And
yeah.
I wonder if one of them gets sick or something.
Oh, you want to go, DK.
If they need a manager or a coach or a hype man, I'm pretty good.
Not happening.
I'm pretty good.
They also get one of these All right. Anyone that works for HP, oh my gosh, there's something happening amazing over there. Take it right back.
DK, no. I love it. I love it. No, it's got 2 screens. It's got 2 screens. Anyway, let's go take a look at our Intel play of the game. Please save us from DK.
Oh, it would be my pleasure, Ben, and I'm very excited to see what the play of the game is going to be here. I think you had to give it to Team Immunity right at the end, although this probably was already a done deal for them. Just the first place was the icing on the cake there as well. Insight, the last player alive on his team, gets Chungi back up. I think they might have even got Vasily up. Regardless, though, Insight kind of does it himself here. Cleans them all up. Phenomenal performance.
Yeah, absolutely. And as the day has progressed, Selfish Guy, these Intel play of the games have got better and better and better. And look, that's a great one to finish on.
Everyone's getting more and more comfortable on the setups. You know, it takes a little while to sort of warm into the swing of things when you're on a different setup. Regardless of how good it may be, you do need to get used to it. And for these boys, they finally got there.
Yeah, good. Exactly right, DK. If you jump into a Ferrari, but at home, you're used to driving, I don't know, the Dacia, it's a little bit different, right?
Yeah, it's very different. I think it's going to be very interesting for these guys. Obviously, they're going to go back to their grind, back to what they do, and it's going to be a little bit difficult maybe to adjust back to that normal speed after playing,
Ferrari mode.
Fight or flight.
Yeah, it's a little bit different, that's for sure. It's been an epic month of PUBG action. Gents, before we close this one off, any final thoughts?
Can't wait for the next one. Hopefully there is one. Fingers crossed.
DK.
Mishka.
DK is deeply depressed inside, but all of us here at the Red Bull Fight or Flight powered by Omen say thank you to everyone who participated, who played on stage, and who watched at home. It's going to be one epic PUBG Global Championships Grand Final. Good luck to Vendetta and Atletico. Enjoy the action.